Hello everyone and welcome back to LitFun. I hope you all are doing well. In today's video, we are going to learn one of the most important topics of English grammar, that is tenses. So, without any further ado, let's get started. In this video, we are going to cover 5 parameters, starting with the introduction. Then we'll move on to the types of tenses and their uses. Next, we'll discuss rules and sentence structure for each and every tense. And then we'll end it with the examples for the respective tenses. Now, let's first begin with the introduction. What are tenses and why are they so important? Let's understand. First of all, let's begin with the sentence structure. It means how a sentence is formed in English language. So the sentence structure in English language is SVO, which means subject, verb, object. Let's take an example. I read English. Now what is I? I is subject here. Subject means any person or thing that we are talking about. Next word, read. I read English. What is read? Read is a verb and English is an object. So SVO. These three things, subject, verb and object, form our basic sentence. Now, here verbs play a very crucial role. We might ignore object for a moment, but we cannot object subject and verb. And verbs play a very crucial role in imparting a meaning to the sentence. For example, like what I read English. तो इसका क्या मतलब है? मैं English पढ़ती हूँ. And what is the most important thing? कि मैं पढ़ रही हूँ. So verbs are very important and tenses enable the verbs to do so. Because verbs can be in many different forms. Okay, and what is the meaning of tenses? That they tell you the time. When was this action taking place? Was it in the past? Is it in the present? Or will it be in the future? For example, मैंने काम करा. मैंने काम कर लिया है. मैं काम कर रहा हूँ. मैं काम करूँगा. इन सभी sentences का meaning अलग है. Verb same है. काम करना. करना is the verb. But काम कर लिया है. करूँगा. कर रहा हूँ. हर सेंटेंस में मीनिंग चेंज हो रहा है. तो इसमें क्या चेंज हो रहा है? इट्स नॉट द वर्ब दैट इज चेंजिंग, इट इज द टेंस दैट इज चेंजिंग. कर रहा हूँ मीन्स प्रेजेंट कंटिन्यूअस. करूँगा मीन्स फ्यूचर टेंस. ओके, एंड कर लिया है मीन्स प्रेजेंट परफेक्ट. सो विथ एवरी सेंटेंस when you change the tense, the meaning of the sentence changes. That's why tenses are so important, because until and unless you get the tense right, you won't be able to convey the right meaning. So tense of a verb tells us whether the action was in the past, present or in future. And if it is in present, whether we do it regularly, whether we are doing it right now or we have completed it. So there are various situations that comes under the tenses. We are going to discuss one by one, so stay tuned. Now, as you all must have understood by now that tenses are of three main types. Present tense, जो भी चल रहा है. Past tense, जो बीत चुका. And future tense, जो हमारा आने वाला कल है. Now, all these tenses, present, past and future, are divided into further 4 categories. That is simple tense or indefinite tense. So we have present indefinite, past indefinite and future indefinite. Then we have continuous tense in present, past and future. Then we have perfect tense and last we have perfect continuous tense. So in this video, we are going to discuss all the 4 types of present tense in detail. So let's begin. The first tense that we are going to start with is simple present or present indefinite. Now, before going into the rules and the sentence structure, it's very important to know the uses of a tense. Where do we use simple present tense? Let me tell you. The first use is the universal truth. So whenever we talk about universal truth means something which is true all over the world. Whether we are in America or India or Africa, this statement will hold true everywhere. For example, sun rises from the east. So here rises is the verb and it is simple present tense. Next, when we talk about general truth, for example, I live in Delhi. So this is a truth. I live in Delhi. So here we have used simple present tense and live is the verb. Next, we use simple present tense to indicate facts. Facts are something that can be proven and that have been proved. For example, water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. So with a scientific experiment, we can prove that yes, water does boil at 100 degrees Celsius. Then when we talk about habits, for example, they drink tea at breakfast. So again, we have used simple present or present indefinite here. The last use in this slide that we are going to discuss is the routine. So a work that we do on a regular basis come under this category. For example, we go to our village every Diwali. So go is the verb here. Now we go to school every day. Every day, this is also a routine. So here also we'll use simple present tense. However, if a work is being done weekly, monthly, yearly, or at a particular occasion every year, then also it's a routine. For example, I go to temple every Tuesday. It's not being done every day, but it is still a routine क्योंकि हम regular intervals पर उसको follow कर रहे हैं. We are going to the temple every Tuesday. So this will also come under the routine. Other two uses of simple present tense are as follows. We use present indefinite for giving instructions or directions. For example, when we talk about a recipe. So for example, open the packet and pour the contents into the hot water. Open and pour are the verbs here. Then stir the mixture. Stir is the verb here. So here we are using simple present tense. Similarly, when we give any direction or any command, for example, shut the door, it is again an example of present indefinite. And shut is the verb here. Next, we use simple present tense when we talk about fixed arrangements. For example, our summer vacation starts on 26th May. So this is a fixed arrangement. Okay, we already know that our summer vacation will begin on 26th May. So in such situations also we can use simple present. Here the verb we have used is starts. Another sentence, the school reopens in July. Now that we have discussed the uses, let's come to the rules and sentence structure of simple present tense. Sentence structure, as you all know, remains subject, verb, object, that is SVO, and again subject and verb are the most important. Sentence can be framed without using the object as well. For example, I read. This is also a complete sentence and it has only a subject and the verb. Alright, so let's start, and please remember that while reading the topic tenses, we are going to lay the most emphasis on verbs. So when we talk about present indefinite, the first rule is that there is only one verb. Only one verb. Now, that one verb can be your auxiliary verb as well as main verb. Now, what are the auxiliary verbs? Auxiliary verbs are the verbs that can act as both helping verbs as well as main verbs depending upon the situation. Let me tell you. The first auxiliary verb that we are going to deal with is be verb. Now, it can be further divided into three parts, that is, am, and are. Be verb tells you the state of being. For example, he is happy. So, how is he? He is happy. And from the sentence, you can figure out that what is the subject he, and he is singular. So, the helping verb is, which is here the main verb. Like how? Suppose if I say he is riding a bicycle. So what is he doing? Riding. So riding is the main verb here, main action. So is becomes the helping verb. But here we have only three words. He is subject. Happy is an emotion. It's not a work. So what is remain is. So is the only verb here. So here is acts as the main verb. Alright. So these are the auxiliary verbs. And if we are using auxiliary verbs in simple present tense, then these act as the main verbs. Okay. So we are only going to use one verb in simple present. So is verb is used with the singular subjects. Okay. And this is a given rule. Like singular starts with the word s for singular. तो सिंगुलर सब्जेक्ट्स के साथ जो भी वर्ब आएगा उसके पीछे एस या ईएस ज़रूर होगा. इट्स अ रूल, प्लीज रिमेंबर. एस फॉर सिंगुलर. सो इफ योर सब्जेक्ट इज सिंगुलर, we will have s or es after the verbs. Next we come to am. Am is used only with I. For example, I am a girl. Then are is used for plural subjects. Okay. And are is also used with you. So for example, they are neighbors. Okay. You are friends. Like this. The next auxiliary verb that we are going to deal with is do or does. Now, if you remember my rule, then you all must already be knowing that does is used with singular subjects. Why? Because does is ending with es. Es means singular subject. So, with singular subjects, we use does. For example, Priya does her work on time. And do is used with plural subjects along with I and you. So we use do with plural. For example, Ravi and Priya do their work on time. Similarly, I do my work on time. You do your work on time. So with I and you also, we will use do. Not does, but do. Okay. The third auxiliary verb is has or have. Again, has is ending with s, so it is used with singular subjects. For example, she has a nice car. Have is used with plural subjects with I and you. For example, I have 2 pet dogs. Okay? And have, what is the function of has and have? It is used to indicate possession. जैसे हमारे पास कोई चीज़ है, सो शी हैज़ अ नाइस कार, उसके पास अच्छी गाड़ी है. ओके, द कार इज़ हर पोजेशन. सो टू इंडिकेट पोजेशन और बिलोंगिंग, वी यूज द ऑक्सिलरी वर्ब हैज़ और हैव. नाउ लेट्स कम टू द मेन वर्ब्स. व्हाट आर द मेन वर्ब्स? मेन वर्ब्स आर द वर्ब्स दैट इंडिकेट एन एक्शन. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, ईट, ड्रिंक, रन, वॉक, डांस, play, sing. All these verbs indicate an action. इनसे पता चलता है कि क्या काम हो रहा है. So these are the main verbs. So it's obvious, if there is a main verb in the sentence, there will not be any helping verb, because we use only one verb in simple present tense. Now the form of the main verb that we are going to use is the root verb, or you can say the first form of the verb. And again, we follow the same rules. If the subject is singular, we are going to add s or es after the verb. For example, the sun rises in the east. Sun is the subject. It is singular. So we are going to add s after the verb. So what is the root verb? Rise. R-I-S-E. So we are going to add s at the end, which becomes rises. Similarly, he goes to school daily. He is the singular subject. So we are going to add es to the root verb, that is go. So go becomes goes. Here we have only two exceptions that we have discussed earlier also, and they are I and you. With I and you, we are not going to add any s or es after the verb. For example, I always complete my work on time. No completes. No, complete. You never play with me. Okay, so with I and you, we use the plural rules only. However, if the subject is plural, then we let the verb as it is. That means we do not add s or es after the verb. For example, they drink tea at breakfast. So they is your plural subject, matlab wo sab, it's plural. So with this we have used the verb drink and we have not added any s or es. Similarly, we go to the temple every Tuesday. So we is your plural subject and with it we use the root verb, that is go, the first form of the verb without any addition. Now you can just rewind a little bit, go to the previous slides and look at the examples that we discussed while discussing the uses of simple present tense. And then you will be able to again figure out that how we have used the verbs. You will be able to see them in the light of the new rules that you have learned. So please do this. You will have additional examples and you will be able to identify where the subject was singular and how we have added s or es at the end of the verb. And if the subject was plural, then we have left the verb as it is. So here we end our simple present tense. Next in row we have present continuous or present progressive tense. Now let's discuss its uses first. So we use present continuous to indicate actions that are going on at the moment. For example, we are learning tenses. Alright, so what are we doing at the moment? We are learning tenses. So here, as you can see, our learning are the verbs. So we have two verbs here. One is the helping verb, that is are, and second is the main verb, that is learning. Next use is to indicate the continued actions that might not be occurring at the moment. For example, she is taking French lessons from a reputed institute. So French lessons might continue for a year or longer or shorter than that period. But right now, if it's very late in the night, so she might not be taking the French lesson. She might not be attending that French class right now. But she is enrolled in the course. So she is taking the lesson. She has taken the lesson today. She will do it tomorrow. So an action that is taking place in the present but not at this particular moment is also indicated by present continuous tense. Third use is to indicate the habits that are often used with adverbs of frequency. What do we mean by adverbs of frequency? It tells you how many times an action is being done. So Pavan is always playing games on his phone. So it's his habit and he is always busy in his phone. ठीक है, तो वो कितनी बार करता है ये काम? दिन में एक बार खेलता है, दो बार खेलता है या हमेशा ही खेलता रहता है? So to indicate such habits, again we use present continuous tense. So here also we are using two verbs, is and playing. And lastly, we have an event planned for the future with adverb of time. Okay, So instead of saying that I will go to a party on Saturday, I can also say I am having or I am going to a party on Saturday. So if we have a particular time, then we can represent future actions also with present continuous tense. Alright? So the planning can also be indicated using present continuous or present progressive tense. Rules and sentence structure for present continuous or present progressive tense. Now, here the sentence structure remains same, subject plus verb plus object. But instead of one verb, we have two verbs here, helping verb and main verb. Now, helping verb can be either is, am or are. So, we have three helping verbs here, is, am or are. What is the main verb? We use first form of the verb and add ing at the end. Okay, so whether there is a singular subject or a plural subject, we are always going to add ing after the verb. Now, the helping verb changes with the subjects and these come under the rules. So, as you all know, is used with singular subjects, am is used only with I, and are is used with plural subjects and you. So, is, am, are plus first form of the verb plus ing. Let's look at some of the examples. So, if we have singular subjects, the sentences can be Rohan is playing basketball. She is singing a song. Meera is studying. So, you can see that we have used helping verb and the main verb, and in first two sentences we have objects basketball and song, but in the third sentence we do not have any object and still it's a complete sentence. Meera is studying. Meera subject is helping verb and studying main verb. Then let's come to the examples with I as subject. I am teaching grammar. I am watching a movie. I am dancing. Lastly, sentences with plural subjects or you. They are going on a trip. We are painting. Karthik and Sneha are cooking. Here we do not have objects. And last sentence, very good. You are improving day by day. So keep practicing. I'm sure you'll also improve your English pretty soon. After present continuous, we come to the present perfect tense. So let's first understand the uses. So present perfect is used to indicate actions that have just ended. For example, I have cleaned the room. मैंने room साफ कर लिया है. तो आपने अभी अभी किया है. So it is present perfect tense. You can see we have again used two verbs here. Have, which is your auxiliary verb, and cleaned, that is your main verb. Let's come to the another use. It is used to indicate those actions whose effect is still on present. Okay, so the action had taken place in the past, but its effect can still be seen in the present. For example, I have lost my glasses. तो चश्मे हमारे obviously past में खोए थे कुछ टाइम पहले, पर उसका इफेक्ट अभी भी विजिबल है because I am not able to see clearly. Third is to talk about an experience. For example, Anil has climbed Mount Everest. So this is an experience. हम एक बार ये काम कर चुके हैं. Anil has climbed Mount Everest. Next, an action that had been completed at an unknown time is also indicated by present perfect. For example, all the guests have left. तो सब guests जा चुके हैं. पर वो exactly कब गए, कितने बजे गए, we have no idea. And lastly, to represent actions that started in the past but are continuing in the present. For example, we have lived in Delhi since 2001. Rules and sentence structure. So sentence structure remains same. Only thing that now we have has and have for the helping verb instead of is, am, her. You already know has is used for singular subjects and have is used with plural. Now for the main verb, we use the third form of the verb here. Okay, so how to make the third form of the verb? It is again divided into two categories. We have regular verbs and irregular verbs. So most of the verbs can be converted into the third form by simply adding ed at the end. For example, played, danced, walked, etc. So all these verbs have ed at the end. However, irregular verbs do not follow the same pattern. For example, write, wrote, written. So write का third form क्या होगा? Written. Similarly, sing, sang, sung. So sung is the third form. Sanged या singed नहीं, sung. Eat, ate, eaten. So eaten is the third form. Eated नहीं. It's wrong. Eaten is the right verb. So you will have to go through these verbs once and you will have to learn their forms. What is the first form, second form and third form? Let's look at some examples now. She has won the match. So she is singular subject. That is why we have used the helping verb has, which ends with s. Then won is the main verb, which is the third form of the verb win. So win, won, won. So won is the third form of the verb. She has won the match. Similarly, they have participated in the dance competition many times. So they is the plural subject and we have used the helping verb have. And again, third form of the verb is participated. The last type of tense is present perfect continuous tense. Let's quickly understand its uses as well. So, it is used to represent recent past activities. For example, it has been snowing. So, like if you go somewhere on the hilly areas and you see the ground is covered in snow, so you can say, oh, it seems as if it has been snowing. तो वो अब बर्फ गिर रही थी, मतलब बर्फ गिर चुकी है लेकिन उसका इफेक्ट अभी भी प्रेजेंट में है. Okay. Second, actions that have started in the past and are continuing in the present. I know we discussed it in present perfect also. We can use it both in both the situations with present perfect also and present perfect continuous also. However, if you have to choose between the two, present perfect continuous will be more appropriate. He has been living in the village since 1995. So वो 1995 से गाँव में रह रहा है, अभी भी वो रह रहा है. So here it lays emphasis on the present. ठीक है कि अभी भी वो काम चल रहा है. It lays emphasis on the continuity of the tense of the action. And the last use is to indicate repeated continuing events. For example, I have been going to Kashmir on holiday every year since 2018. So 2018 से मैं हर साल कश्मीर जा रहा हूँ हॉलीडे मनाने के लिए. Okay, so here you can see that we are using three verbs, has or have, then been, and then the main verbs ending with ing. Now let's discuss the rules and the sentence structure. Now here, if you look at the name of the tense, perfect continuous, you can easily figure out that it's a blend of two tenses, perfect tense and continuous tense. So you know that with perfect tense we use the helping verbs has or have. So we are going to use the same here. In continuous tense we use verb ka first form plus ing. So we are going to use that, and then we will need to join these two different tenses, and to join these two different tenses we need a kind of favicol, and that favicol is the word been here, B-E-E-N. So our sentence structure here becomes subject plus helping verb, that is has or have, plus been, B-E-E-N. then main verb, that is first form of the verb ending with ing. Okay, and then object. Now, one more thing that is very important here is the time reference. You might have noticed in the previous sentences. If not, you can rewind the video a little bit and see that we have used the time reference. Like he has been living in the village since 1995 or since 2018. So this is the main hallmark of present continuous tense, that we tell you the time frame कि वो काम कब से हो रहा है. So there are two words that can be used for this purpose. One is since and another one is for. Now a lot of students get confused in their usage. So you can use a simple trick. S is for since and S is for starting time. So since is used to indicate the starting point when we have the exact time when the action started. Like he has been living in the village since 1995. So we know he started living in the village in 1995 and he is still living in the village in this 2023. तो हमें starting time पता है वो कब start हुआ 1995 में. So S is for since and S is for starting time. Another word that we have is for. It indicates duration of an action. For example, I have been learning guitar for 5 years. So this is the duration कि मुझे कितना time हो गया गिटार सीखते हुए 5 years. But exactly नहीं दिया है when did I start. That I can calculate 2023 से 5 साल पहले कौन सा साल होगा. But it is not given. What is given is the duration. So when we are given the duration like 5 days, 2 weeks, 3 months, 4 years, then we use the word for. Okay, now let's look at some of the examples. She has been learning French since 2020. So she is singular, that's why we have used has, then been and learning. Continuous है तो ing ज़रूर आएगा. And then we have used the word since. Why? Because we have the exact time, that is 2020. Okay, the starting point. Second sentence, I have been working on this project for 3 years. So 3 years is the duration. 3 साल से मैं काम कर रहा हूँ. So we have used the word for here. And of course with ing also we use the verb have. H-A-V-E. Okay. So that's it, and with this we have completed our perfect continuous tense also. Now let's quickly summarize what we have learned so far. We have learned 4 types of present tense: simple present, present continuous, present perfect and present perfect continuous. The main functions: simple present tense is used to indicate universal truth and habits. Present continuous tense indicates the current ongoing actions. Present perfect tense indicates the actions that have just been finished. And perfect continuous tense indicates actions that have been started in the past but are still continuing in the present. In simple present, we do not use any helping verb. In present continuous, we use is, am, are. In present perfect and perfect continuous, we use has and have. However, in perfect continuous, we also use been. Has, have plus been. B-E-E-N. Then let's come to the main verb. In simple present tense, we use the first form of the verb. In present continuous tense, we use the first form of the verb ending with ing. In present perfect tense, we use third form of the verb, and in perfect continuous tense, we again use first form of the verb ending with ing. Do not get confused that we used is, am, are in simple present tense because there it was not acting as helping verb but it was acting as main verb only. So that's it, and we have successfully completed present tense with this. Now a little suggestion that do not treat English grammar as mathematics, that you are just cramming the rules and trying to solve the questions, but try to do some exercises which can be very creative. Like for example, you can simply take a newspaper, go through an article and try to figure out where they have used simple present tense or present continuous. Like just underline the verbs and try to figure out their tenses. Why? Because language is something that we use in our day-to-day lives. Okay, so you need to know that how tenses are used in writing, how tenses are used while we are speaking. Another thing, please try to read as much as you can. Even if it's a short story, a simple article, anything that you can lay your hands on, because when you will, get into the habit of reading, you'll automatically acquire the right sense of tense. You might not be able to explain like why I have used this tense or why I have spoken a sentence like this, but your sentence is definitely going to be correct, because when you read extensively, you automatically get a sense of the language, like how to use that language. Okay, it's as simple as that. Like in a Hindi, we know how to speak our mother tongue, so when we are small, when we are 3 years old, 4 years old, we can simply say, we can speak fluently in that language. It's only later that we get enrolled in schools and we learn Vyakaran or the grammar of our mother tongue, and we get to know कि okay, these are the rules that we are following. Same is with English also. The more you will listen, the more you will read, you will automatically get to know how to use that language. So anyways, all the best for your learning, and if you found the useful, please do like, share and subscribe. And in case of any doubts, you can put them down in the comment section below. I'll get back to you. So thank you for watching, and till we meet next, bye everyone and take care.